Do we have polling yet that suggests that voters want a different candidate?
Yeah, this is the whole question, right? If it's not President Biden, then who could it be on the Democratic side? And the truth is, there are no easy answers. You know, I went back and looked at the polling versus Donald Trump for a bunch of different Democrats have been suggested. Gretchen Whitmer, Gavin Newsom, Kamala Harris. Look at this. They all trail Donald Trump. So the idea here that we're somehow going to get this magic bullet, that there's somehow going to be some Democrat who can beat Donald Trump easily, I just don't see it in the numbers. At this particular point, if Joe Biden takes on Donald Trump, he's trailing. If there's another Democrat who runs against Donald Trump, they too are trailing. Perhaps you want to make the argument you bring in another Democrat who isn't as well known as Joe Biden, who has universal name recognition, and maybe they could change the numbers. But the fact is, any Democrat who entered the race right now, at least among those that are being suggested by a bunch of folks, they would all enter the race at this particular point as an underdog to former President Donald Trump.
I have spoken to some top Democrats who say that there would actually be relief if he were to step down. And one person said to me, look, everyone's counting out Kamala Harris because right now her poll numbers are below President Biden's. But if she were to be the one to carry this torch into November, there could be a method of reintroducing her to the country that could be effective with independents, with moderates, with those critical suburban women that are necessary for winning the White House.
NBC's Kristen Welker is floating the idea that should Joe Biden decide to step down from the presidential race, that could create an avenue in which Kamala Harris, his vice president, is reintroduced to American voters who get to decide who wins the general election. But Kamala Harris really isn't being seriously considered as a Biden replacement in the off chance that Biden does the right thing and step down. Right now, by the way, there's no indication that he intends to do that. His family, including Jill Biden, is urging him to stay in the race despite his horrible, terrible debate performance. Now, Politico reports that Harris's allies are frustrated with all the chatter about a possible replacement involving Gavin Newsom, the California governor, or Michigan's governor, Gretchen Whitmer. And I want to give you some of the anonymous quotes by Harris allies to Politico. One of them says, the fact that people keep coming back to this is so offensive to so many of us. They still don't get that the message you're saying to people, to this Democratic Party, is we prefer a white person.
Oh, please.
So they're weaponizing race in order to make a case for Kamala Harris, despite the fact that she has her own voter abilities. We'll get to that in just a moment. Another Harris ally told Politico, if they think they are going to get through South Carolina bashing an effective and qualified black woman vice president, their instincts are as bad as I thought they were. I would venture to say that this Harris ally has terrible instincts. Because as we know, Kamala Harris's approval rating has been low for a long time now.
Tonight, President Biden is meeting with his family at Camp David. Multiple sources tell CNN the meeting was planned a long time ago for a photo shoot, and it is not some kind of emergency gathering to discuss the future of his campaign. But it has new significance in light of growing calls for the president to exit the race after Thursday's alarming debate performance. And now there's new polling that suggests voters' concerns are growing about the president's fitness for office.
President Biden has privately acknowledged a series of critical tests are ahead in the next stretch of days. Those tests essential to determining whether he can stay in the race for the White House. CNN White House correspondent MJ Lee joining us now. MJ, what more are you learning?
Erica, what I'm learning, and this is according to an ally of the president's who spoke with the president directly yesterday, is that the president has privately acknowledged that the next stretch of days are going to be so critical to the question of whether he can save his re-election campaign. The president, made clear to this ally in this conversation yesterday that he understands what circumstances would prompt him to basically accept it's just not working. This person who spoke to the president telling me that he sees the moment, he is clear-eyed, and they said that the president is very clear on the series of potential events that could come in the coming days that would prompt him again to accept that what he's trying to do to turn the narrative, turn his campaign around, isn't working. This person said, quote, the polls are plummeting, the fundraising is drying up, and the interviews are going badly. He's not oblivious. This is, of course, the person paraphrasing the conversation that they had with the president yesterday. As you know, this is a really significant window into how the president is going to be handling the next important stretch for his campaign. His campaign is in an existential crisis right now ever since that terrible debate performance last week, and he is under tremendous amount of pressure right now from Democratic Party leaders, from donors, voters who have said last week really demonstrated that he is not up for running for re-election or even finishing out the term.